Welcome to the first annual Qualico Mixed Doubles Classic, brought to you from the Bow Valley in beautiful Alberta, Canada. Our host venues are the Banff Curling Club in the iconic Banff National Park and the Canmore Golf and Curling Club in the gateway to the Canadian Rockies. The event is proudly sponsored by Qualico. We create what we believe in. The Malcolm. Experience Canmore's crown jewel. Vision Electronics. Your best price. And Bow Valley Credit Union. Growing together. The Qualico Mixed Doubles Classic. Up next. Welcome, we're back here in the Canmore Lounge in beautiful Canmore, Alberta, bringing you today's feature matchup. We have Ben Fowler and Anna Fowler, the sibling team from England. They were on a feature draw earlier with us. We got a great interview with them. They shared some great insight into the game. They're playing against local favorites. We've got quite a crowd here coming to cheer on Annika Villemaire and Sora Ishida, two junior curlers of the Banff Curling Club. Great curlers in their own right, here to test themselves against this English duo. Should be a wonderful game tonight. On the line for Fowler and Fowler, wanting to go 5-0 in winning their pool. That would get them possibly through in a bye past the first round into the second round of the championships. For Ishida and Villemaire, looking for their first win, and certainly in front of the home crowd, won up curl well. So they had a wonderful game this afternoon, narrowly losing, so they're certainly coming on strong. We're looking forward to a great game. I'm really excited to share with you that we're going to be joined for color commentary by none other than Greg Drummond. He's over here coaching with the two Scottish teams and the English team. He's joined by Nancy in coaching doing that. He's going to be coming on. For those of you not familiar with Greg Drummond, and how can you not be, we watched him curl for many years. In 2011 and 2012, he was the vice for Tom Brewster at the World Championships when they lost to Canada in both those, once to Jeff Stoughton and once to Howard. So he has two silver medals at that. He also played with Dave Murdoch in 2013 and 14 and went to the Olympics with him there. So we'll hear more about those experiences from him, more about his teams that have come over to play here, and certainly a little bit about him, and hopefully some great insight into this game. So Greg, welcome on board. Good. So as we get going here, what can we expect from Fowler? What did you tell them to do in this game?
Make lots of shots.
That's probably a good advice.
Yeah, no, they're a hard-working bunch. They've been improving all season. They joined the British program for the first time this year, and they've been going through a lot of changes, making some technical adjustments, just really trying to advance their game to this next level. And they've had a really consistent week here in Banff and Canmore. 4-0 in their pool, and looking to make the playoffs.
Was it a surprise? I mean, we didn't rank them as top in the pool. They are a top team, but were you surprised with how well they played? Because they've beaten a lot of good teams, and they're certainly on a great roll.
Yeah, they've beaten a lot of good teams on the way, but we've seen some real glimpses of brilliance from them throughout the season. It isn't a surprise that they can win the games. They've maybe surprised themselves a little bit in that they've gone 4-0 for sure, but this is just a real test for them out here in Canada. It's their last event before their national championships in a couple of weeks, so they should be, regardless of the result at the end of the week, they should go into those championships with a good bit of confidence.
That's true. And they just played in Italy before coming here, and there we lost out in the championship there.
Yep, they were unbeaten all the way to the final and lost out. So they're trending in the right direction.
That's great. Now you also brought over two other teams. Tell me a little bit about those teams and who they are, how they've done, and what you expect out of them.
Yep, so we have three teams on our British programme. Fowler, of course. We also have Team King and Stirling, who were Scotland's representatives at last season's World Championships. I believe they finished 11th. They've had an up and down season, some real good stuff and some stuff that they'd maybe like to do a little bit better. A 2-3 record for this week, so they'll take the learnings on to our next event. We also have Team Aitken Andrews. Scott Andrews, of course, my ex-Olympic teammate. He played second on that team. They've had a good season. couple of finals, a win. They also won their national championships, so they're heading to Stavanger in April to rep Scotland. A 3-2 record for them this week. Scott's just on a little bit of a comeback from an injury, so yeah, you know, he's going to take a couple of games to settle back in. But yeah, looking good.
Can you share what that injury was, or is that sort of top secret?
Don't think it's top secret. A little bit of a shoulder injury, but nothing that can't be fixed. Just needs a little bit of rest. You know, he's one of the top 5 sweepers in the world, in my opinion. So he pushes the boundaries all the time.
Yeah, well, certainly you need a shoulder for that. We've seen a lot of work out here. When you're out there, you're the only sweeper, and got to put a lot of hard work in. We were watching the Norwegian team, and I could see the heavy shoulders up and down. He was also saying the altitude, you know, and maybe some of the Christmas hangover that that contributed
there's
to
also
it.
that. Yeah, altitude definitely plays a factor. You know, I know from my own playing experiences. I've played in some places that it's tough. It's tough on the body sweeping. I recall one, I played the university games in Erzurum, Turkey. And it was minus 30 outside with an altitude of something similar to Ben Nevis, which is the highest peak in Scotland. Don't ask me how high, but there's your random fact of the day.
Well, as we get going here in the first end, we've got a few shots under our belt in the midway section. We've got Fowler and Fowler playing red stones and Villemaire and Ishida playing blue stones. Villemaire and Ishida, of course, do have the hammer. The house not setting up as they'd want. Fowler and Fowler doing a great job. They've got 3 rocks in the top of the 4, or biting the 4 in great position. Looks like Sora Ishida is going to make a play on them, try and remove a few. They do have the 1 blue hanging around, that if they can get rid of some of these reds, they might be able to bring that one back into play to get a multiple. But most importantly here, we need to make some contact and get rid of some of this red rocks that are in the house. Looks like it's coming in. They're calling line. He's sweeping it, so they must like it. Really nice shot. The crowd approves of it. A local crowd here to support them on. Definitely most important there was to move those rocks out of the way and out of the house so that they have a chance to play into that 4-foot themselves. So, Greg, did you ever play any mixed doubles yourself?
Yeah, I played mixed doubles probably at 3 or 4 Continental Cups. So that was my first experience, and that was probably pre-rule change with the rock at the back of the 4-foot. We used to play with the back of the button. So I was lucky enough to play against some of the top North Americans. Maybe we're talking maybe 2012, 2013 time. I played a little bit with Anna Sloan in those events.
Nice.
I think I also had one experience playing our national championships back home. So on a whole, not too much experience, but you know, it's a nice discipline.
You make comments in reference of moving the rock. What are some of those changes that have been developed in this game? So certainly the rock used to be at the back of the button. At some point the power play came on. So even though it's a new discipline, it's still evolving and being figured out with some of these. I do love the power play change. I do like that repositioning, gives a little more room. Tell me about some of those changes and what you think.
Yeah, I really like the power play introduction to the discipline. It just it adds an extra edge to some of the games that might be heading for a sort of lopsided scoreline. There's always an opportunity to get back into it, and we've seen some real good comeback wins with the power play. I think Fowler were involved in one just yesterday. They dropped 5 points against Officer Carruthers, and they took 4 back on the power play and went on to win the game. So yeah, it's quite exciting. I think the discipline as a whole is really in its infancy, so it's important that we really test out different rules, different strategies early on, so that we get it right in the long term. It would be wrong to let the discipline just sit stagnant for a couple of years, especially now that it's had its Olympic debut. We need to keep evolving it and make sure we can get it absolutely perfect.
For those of you just joining us, and some of you have, we're talking with Greg Drummond. Greg Drummond, most famously known for playing as the Vice for 2 years in 2011 and 12 with Tom Brewster, losing twice in the finals. Sorry to keep bringing that up, but still, you won silver medals those years. 1 year to Stoughton, 1 year to Howard, and of course playing in the Olympics. What was that Olympic experience like? If you talk to people in a lot of sports, that's a pinnacle moment. That's such a different event. An atmosphere is hard to duplicate. And what was that like being there?
Yeah, certainly in curling, Olympics is the pinnacle. It doesn't come much bigger than that. We went into those Olympic Games with not really a whole bunch of expectations about what to expect. I'm talking about the experience in general, away from the curling. We had curling expectations, of course, that were quite high, and rightly so. But yeah, it's a tough one to explain. You're almost in a bit of a bubble when you're in the village. You're really sheltered from what's going on back home. So we were unaware of the hundreds and thousands, probably millions of people back in the UK that were really behind us for those 2 weeks, a week and a half, however long the event lasted. It was just, it's a surreal experience, and it's something, you can't buy.
Yeah, people talk about how do you, get up for these big events and, put out the crowds and stuff. But I imagine at the Olympics, you just can't get away from that. I mean, you're in the village. Once you get outside that gate, it's like you are the pinnacle of sport for that week, and people just, they want to know and hear about it.
I think the cool thing about the Olympics is every athlete, regardless of what sport they play, they're there for one reason only, and that's to win a gold medal. There's equality across the board. I always tell people a story about when we went to the food hall one day. Now this is a big hall that seats thousands of people. It was midday. We obviously had a game later on that afternoon. We walk in with a few of the guys, and we could sit anywhere, and I goes, let's go and sit over here. And they're like, why would you do that? Well, do you not know who that is? Well, no. Well, that's Sid Crosby. Let's go sit down with him. So we sat down and we had a conversation for about 20 minutes with him. And that's a world superstar in the world of sport. It doesn't get much bigger than that in hockey at that time. And it was really just nice to hear his experiences of the Olympics, how they approached it, and what it actually meant to him as an athlete, regardless of his status in the world of sport.
That's great. Well, just to bring you back, I'm sure you were watching that shot while I was talking to Greg, but Annika Villemaire making a tremendous last shot to hit and roll across the face and get into biting the forefoot to take the 1 point there, facing 4 red. So a great start to the game for Ishida and Villemaire. A great shot by Annika here, and showing why she played actually with Team Cinnamon, I should say, in a Bonspiel recently. The Ray Kingsmiths, which they play in Calgary. She played with Team Cinnamon. She's an alternate with that team and shares playing duties on it. And they actually won that Bonspiel. So Annika's played in pressure situations, maybe not quite at the World Curling Tour level, but certainly in Bonspiel. So she's used to it and showing it there, making a wonderful hit and roll to get the 1 and be right in this game, leading 1-0 after 1. So this hammer now moves over. We got Fowler and Fowler. And we've got Anna throwing her first stone down, trying to get it right on top of the red. And it's coming in nice, seems to have good speed. Probably tap it a little bit, but they'll have 2 rocks right there on top of the button, where you'd want them at the beginning of an end. So you've stepped away from competitive curling. Well, or seemingly you have. You're starting to, and you turned over to coaching. How do you like the coaching?
Yeah, I made the decision in the summer. I thought the time was right just to kind of call it a day on the playing career. It's been a tough slog for 10 years. It takes its toll on you a little bit mentally, physically. There's a lot asked of our athletes back home, and rightly so. If you want to be at the top, you've got to be prepared to put a lot of time into the game. So I got an opportunity to step into a coaching role, which, it's going really well. It's nice to be involved in a discipline that's new to the sport. We haven't really had a mixed doubles program back home, but now that we have one, it's I feel I can still offer the athletes something. And I've been involved in elite sport for 10 years as an athlete. It would be silly just to put that sort of experience and knowledge to one side. It's almost a return on investment for the associations, to say the least. That's
very well put. Hope other people out there listening will follow your lead.
Possibly. Who knows?
Well, moving along in the end, we've got Sora's shot soaring just a little bit too deep and wide. So Ben now on his draws, trying to bring another one around and put it right on top, the lie 3, and more importantly, behind those center line guards. So certainly Fowler and Fowler with the hammer, building up a great end here. Ben's coasting that. Anytime they're leaning over on and off again, it usually means it's a good shot, and certainly that is. So line 3 right now, all behind the center guard. Be interesting to see what Annika and Sora decide to do. And there it is. Looks like they're going to try and draw it around to the pin on top of that back one. As we've been seeing all week, 5.5 to 6 foot of curl out here. And in Canmore, we've been getting about 15 seconds of ice. Is that what you've been getting in terms of timing and bend?
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Has the ice been good? I mean, you've got 6 athletes out there. What have they been saying? And you can be honest.
No, the quality of the ice has been fantastic. You know, you guys have done a great job putting this event on, and certainly for the mixed doubles, we need nice, quick ice with lots of curl, just to add to the entertainment. And really, that's what the athletes have got.
Oh, great. Once again, that rock just not quite curling for Sora, but that's a bit of the difference. When you've got the right weight and you can sweep it in, that rock will really turn over. But get it out with a little more weight, and it seems to finish a little bit slower and not quite make it to the center line.
Yeah, I think one of the important things about making a curling shot is you need to have the appropriate weight. You know, you need to have the broom in the right spot. If you get that combination wrong, certainly you're going to see some different results. And that's part of the skill of the game. And the better teams and the better players will adapt quicker and ultimately make more shots.
Yeah, it's been interesting to hear some of the players talk about how they look for that path that they can sort of sure and follow. Also, I think in this discipline, you're throwing the same type of shot. A lot of it's outside in, a lot of it's drawing to the center. So you get a lot of quick information, not just in practice, but early in. So you really can get on a track. And if you can find that weight, we saw it the other day, Peterman and Brett Gallant, threw 7 straight shots in which he drew right around to the pin.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's just the nature of the discipline. There's going to be a lot of shots down the same line, and players have to react to whether the speed of the ice speeds up or slows down, curls more, gets a little bit straighter. We see a lot of outside-in shots, and then the challenge comes when we switch to the power play, where you go into a lot of new paths. So there's a little bit of an adjustment there to be made as well.
It's interesting you said. I was going to ask you, we've noticed in the games we've covered that the outside in has been that 5.5, 6 feet. But when they go to the power play, they seem to take that same amount of ice, but it doesn't curl in behind. You've almost got to trust that it's not quite 5.5, 6 feet. Oh, great shot there by Sora, removing 2 of the red stones. Certainly Fowler can draw another one down in, and with hammer keep this pressure on. But great shot there by Sora Ishida to remove 2 of those stones. As we talked to Anna earlier in the week, she's just moved up to Stirling. I understand that's where the competition centre is and where the British programs run out.
Yeah, we have a brand new National Curling Academy in Stirling, which is a dedicated curling facility purely for the elite athletes to train in. And Anna made the move from London when she joined the programme, and she's seeing the benefits. She's throwing rocks every day, getting access to some of the real top quality support services that we have in Scotland, whether that be, you know, strength and conditioning, psychology, nutrition, performance lifestyle.
And most importantly, she's there with her brother, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting you talk about it. We often think about the technical side, the throwing of the rock, but there's so much more, isn't there, with the nutrition, with the mental stuff. There's so much you have to deal with outside of just throwing the rock, which is what it used to be when you had corn brooms and cigarettes out on the ice.
I think that's just the advancement of the sport. It's becoming a profession for many people, and really they take things so serious just to try and get the small margins.
Well, a slight error there, Fowler. Not that it's a huge error, but they came a little bit heavy, and they created quite the pocket there. Now, Annika, it's her last shot at the end, and they are facing 3, but a great opportunity off that miss to put one right down, locked in as shot. And I don't see how Fowler can get it out if she can get it right in the middle between those 2 stones. And if it overcurls, it'll get in behind and be hard to access to. So really good opportunity here to put some pressure back on where things were not lining up that well for them early on in this end. Sora, of course, he's an international exchange student that came over from Japan. He's played in international competition. He's played on their junior teams and is an excellent curler, very technically sound in his delivery. And he's over here. He's curling out of the BAM Curling Club, and great to have him. He plays in the leagues and is just a great curler. And as we're seeing out here, getting a chance to test those skills with some of the international teams on the World Curling Tour. Here comes Annika's shot down. It's coming a bit heavy. This is going to have to move over, but I don't see it coming. Just a little bit out there and just that little extra weight, and it just sails by. So good chance here for Fowler and Fowler to draw one in. Basically need to get it, just biting the 4 should get them their 4. How's the junior program, we should ask? So we've got these juniors out here. We were really excited to get them out and getting some learning and competition and exposing them to it. But not just that, but exposing them to the athletes. They seem to have been very well received. And it's a really good thing about our sport, I find, that they'll embrace and welcome it in. I know at the Banff Curling Club and the leagues, men have invited the juniors in. And how do you find junior curling over in Scotland and Great Britain in total?
I think generally junior curling's in a fairly good spot. We've always produced some real talented curlers over the years who have gone on to some reasonably big success. We have actually our junior women's team. They're competing out in Finland this week in the B division of the Worlds, and I believe they're going fairly well at the moment, so we wish them the best.
That's great. My wife's from Finland. In fact, Saxby, our production manager here on this set, he is actually going to school in Arkad, which is a Swedish university in Helsinki. So very familiar with that.
Yeah.
That's great.
I think it's a great opportunity for these kids to get the opportunity to play against some of the big names. You know, you can't buy that opportunity sometimes at that age. I think they were in the pool with, you know, Jennifer Jones and Brent Lang, you know, two of the absolute superstars of curling.
Yeah.
You know, that must have been an awesome experience for them.
It would be, and certainly one of Annika's heroes in the sport is Jennifer Jones. And when she was even younger than she is now, which is hard to believe, she was in helping out the TSN Skins game, which we've hosted in Banff for a number of years, and Jennifer's been there. And certainly now it's great to go from watching her and cheering for her to actually competing against her. I really did like, and we talked about this a bit earlier in the show, but both Brent and Jennifer were so good when they're out there playing with them, talking with them, and, you know, I'm sure helping them along as well as interacting with them and not just ignoring them. And that's a great part of our sport, as we talked about. Curlers are just fantastic people, willing to share and willing to be involved.
I think there's a great camaraderie amongst all the players for the most part. We spend so much time on tour competing against the same people. It's you know, they're almost a lot of the teams that they're your second family as such.
Yeah. Well, talking about Olympics, going to go back there for a moment because I've been in some conversations with different people, and, you know, there's two trains of thought. One, that curling is going to benefit from Olympics, going to benefit from the exposure, potential sponsorship, and all of that. The other train of thought is that it's going to push it up to an elite level, and really we might lose some of that middle, because you're going to create that pro curler, and you're going to then have the club curler, and are we going to lose some of that middle ground because that competition's gotten so fierce amongst those top players that we create this mushroom effect? And any thoughts or comments on it?
Yeah, it's an interesting topic of conversation. I mean, like, ultimately we want the sport to thrive and grow, and we probably need the Olympics for that. We're seeing a lot of development out in the Far East, in the Asian countries. You know, they're really starting to take the sport serious, producing some real talented players. I think on a whole, numbers are declining across the world. We can't get away with that, and I'm not sure that's a direct impact of the sport becoming elitist. I think I don't know. It's a tough one. It's natural evolution, I guess. You know, we want the sport to thrive and prosper, and we've got some great events on the World Curling Tour that have a bit of cash up for grabs now. So you know, the players are starting to see it as a bit of a profession and take it a little bit more serious than they maybe did in the past.
Yeah, you certainly see that. There's a lot of people now, this is their sport, and they're doing it fairly professionally, playing it very often. You almost have to make that commitment now to play at that level.
Yeah, it's a huge commitment if you want to compete at the top level. You know, a lot of these, certainly the teams in Canada, they sign up for a four-year deal. That's the same back home for the most part. It's a 4-year deal. They run on a quadrennial cycle, and it's a big commitment. You know, a lot of these guys have families, work commitments, and it's a lot of time away from home.
Yeah, because people are out there and see them curling on TV, and they see the money. That money's split 4 ways. And there's also a lot of travel in that. And yes, they can get some sponsorship, but we're not talking $1 million sponsorships here. So you still need to work, and it's hard to be hard to dedicate that much time. And so to your point about 10 years of it, I think people often see the glitz and glory of it, and they see the wins, and they see maybe the sexiness side of it, but they don't realize the amount of effort that goes into it, the amount of time and commitment to play at that level.
Yeah, I mean, like, ultimately everyone's striving to win that one thing, and that's Olympic gold. And yeah, don't get me wrong, that will probably bring some real nice things along the way, but you know, curling's not like the PGA Tour where these guys are winning over $1 million a season and they're not even close to the FedEx Cup playoffs. This is a different ball game. It's an expensive sport. There's a lot of travel costs involved, time away from work.
Yeah. So just quickly bring us back up to the game here. We saw that Fowler's shot came up a little bit short in their draw round, and Sora was able to take advantage of his next shot and draw one right down on top of the blue that they already had in the house, sitting on the button, nicely frozen. So certainly starting to build something here after giving up 4 last time. They're only down 3, and they have the hammer, and they have a chance to build upon it. Fowler trying to duplicate that shot. They've done it quite well and successfully, bumping it a little bit to create a little separation and take over top shot there. So that is a tremendous shot by Ben Fowler, and it's in a great position because it's slightly exposed on the right side, but the right side, if you come down to it, it's going to jam directly on that back blue. So it's certainly going to take a couple of shots to get that out of there. But as we've talked about during the week, it's not where the rocks are now, it's where they end up after the last shot that really matters. So going to see what they do between Sora and Annika. They're going to make a play to start jiggling around with some weight, or draw down on top and try and create some opportunities. So we'll wait and see what they come up with. Looks like Sora's going to head down. They're going to have a discussion, and we'll watch from overhead. They usually see by the broom tapping and movement what they're looking at playing. What would you do here, Greg?
Well, I think we've seen in the first couple of events, Fowler, they've had control of the control zone for the most part. I think we probably need to start seeing the Blue Rocks open up the 4-foot, create some space to score. That rock that Ben Fowler just plays pretty safe right now. They're probably 2 shots to get rid of that.
When you talk about the control zone, what do you define as the control zone?
The control zone's probably one of the most important things in the mixed doubles discipline. It's just having control around that top 4-foot, top 8-foot area, keeping the angles. Anything that slips deep like we saw in the last end just creates a little bit of a problem and can lead to some easy forces, some steals that were never in play. We saw that with Fowler in the last one. You know, they were 1 rock away from being forced.
Yep. Tried to draw down on this situation. Let's see. The weight was just a little bit heavy and has bounced out in the open, so leaving Fowler a chance to remove it, or I think more logically, as you see Anna pointing to put one up there in just biting the top 4. One thing that, again, with this rule here is that we have the free guard zone, obviously, in the regular game, but here you can't remove any rock, including a rock in the house to the 4th end. So that creates a lot of interest. I've seen in how the people contend against the power play. There's really been 3 different ways, and one of them is just to draw the center line, or even put it in the house top 4, because you can't remove that stone.
No, it's an interesting one. I quite like it. It just switches up the strategy a little bit. It means there's always something going on every end, and you've actually got to have your wits about you a little bit. You need to be aware, because a big end can come very quickly.
Yeah. Well, we'll get back to the game here a little bit. We've got lots of rocks being played into the house in different angles. Fowler have one locked in there, shot rock on top of a blue that belongs to Ishida and Villemaire. And rightfully so, they've put a block on this side, in the house, of course, but it does take away the chance to come down on the left side and get those 2 reds moving. Anything that hits that red on the right is going to not move it anywhere, but it would unlock the blue that's holding it in place in the back. We are going to need 2 shots to get that red out of there. So with only 2 throws left, certainly going to have to make some sort of play down. Even if they freeze, though, it's not wrong, because if it doesn't set up for you, better to only give away 1. Fowler do have the chance to come around with a little bit of weight, and they're doing the right thing to wait till later on. And once they do that, that can move that blue back and leave them sitting 3. So that right side right now, very dangerous for Ishida and Villemaire. And I think Sora's going to try and deal with that right now by drawing in on top, hopefully setting up a chance to hit it hard next time with Annika and unlock some things and maybe sneak out one, but not give up more than one. Looks like they like it. He's on, he's off again, which is always a good sign. Seems to be coming in with good weight, not too heavy, and seems to be just settling into a pocket there against the red. So a very good shot. That blue rock itself is not going anywhere and certainly can be used to slash in and possibly pop out those two reds. If you envision the blue coming from the side of the sheet, not from straight on, that goes into that pocket. Those two reds go. Greg, do you think they could get out of there with the slash and be sitting 3 if it's not protected?
Yeah, potentially. I think Anna will just come down here, play an out-turn draw, just lock up the steal. And if she's really good, she's got an option to play a little tap. Team Villemaire, Ishida, they just haven't really got to the centre line this end and been able to manufacture an opportunity to score.
Yeah. Only sitting the 1 though, so at least the damage at this point would only be 1. Let's see what Anna can do here in terms of hopefully blocking off for them the opportunity for Annick on her last shot to get in and create a potential 1-point end. Anna's let it go. We've got Ben now on the broom. As you can see, often they kind of straddle in behind, partly watching line, but also maneuvering themselves to whatever side they want to sweep on. Sweeping in the direction he is now, he's helping the curl. If he rotates the other way, he's trying to hold the rock. Certainly something we learned through the Olympic cycle. Canada very prominent in that, investing a lot of money into sweeping. Some great advancements in the sport through that. Well, they did draw it in there and block off a hit down on the red one, but it does leave that blue rock exposed and might be an opportunity if they can get a little bit of weight and catch a quarter of that stone, might be able to jiggle it into those reds and maybe be able to get their 1. First, of course, that is not a big target, but it is a target and it is there, and I think it's their only option to try and generate a score.
Yeah, Anna's just pulled up a little bit light there and overcurled slightly. If the rock sticks out 6 inches, there's probably not a shot, but we're looking at probably a bullet out-turn peel here, slash the blue and hope that maybe the red squirts out top of the button. Wow. It's a tough one, but I don't see anything else.
It's a tough one. Let's see what Annika can do here. She's certainly capable of throwing weight. I know that she's not much heavier than that rock, but even with that, she's got tremendous leg drive and a great slide. So let's see if she can generate the power, and let's see if she can just catch that blue one and drive it in and see what can happen. The good news for them is they really will only give up 1, so there's no risk in trying this. It's away. Good, nice extension. It's out a bit, though. I'm not sure if this is going to be able to come back with that weight. One thing we talked with the ice maker about earlier is you get that rock out a little bit. The way it's running fast, it's got nothing to grip on, and it's hard to bring it back. So really good attempt. She had the right weight, just didn't quite get it on the line.
Yeah, just a little bit in out unreleased there. And like you say, it's just so release sensitive, certainly on those up weights.
Yeah. One thing we've noticed with this Fowler team throughout, great camaraderie, really work well together. I don't know if that's the sibling thing or if they've just worked on it, but there's tremendous chemistry there, and it's really good to see, but I think it helps them get through when they maybe have a missed shot or when they're playing well. They really seem to feed off each other, which is important.
I've been able to work with them all season, and they're actually really effective teammates in their roles. They do bounce off each other really well. And if the chips are down, there's always one there to pick the other one up. They have a little internal joke that's been going on throughout the season. It's called Superior Sibling. So you can maybe ask them that in the post-match interview.
Well, we may have to. We'll get them on Superior Sibling. Well, I'll ask you another thing. Obviously, in doing some research, I went on to the Twitter feed, and Anna Fowler said she's an avocado enthusiast. Now, can you help us understand? I know what an avocado is, and I know what an enthusiast is. When I put them together, I've got a vision. But can you help us understand what that is?
I think it basically means she has avocado with every meal of the day. We went shopping the other day, and I was giving her a bit of stick for having about 15 avocados in the trolley.
Love it. Well, her and my daughter would get along well because she has avocados with every meal too, whether she blends it up in a smoothie or puts it in a salad or eats it plain.
Yeah.
A really nice shot there by Fowler. Fowler putting one right down on top of the blue. In the top of the 4, taking control as Greg shared of the control area. Really nice position stone. Annika now is going to try and come around the other way. She'll try and put one on top of that red stone, and we'll start to build a bit of a situation in the center. And based on how the angle's set up, we'll see which team makes a play on it first. So first of all, Annika is going to come out. She's been a bit heavy on a few of her shots. We'll see if she takes a little bit off of it here. She's up. She's following it down. Sora's keeping an eye on the line. Starting to come down, but I think it's just a bit heavy. Usually we can tell by how much it starts to curl. When rocks get out that far, they can come all the way over the center line, but that one just a little bit heavy and slides through. And now Sora will go down and gets ready himself to throw the next shot. Well, Ben's in the house, quickly ready, and off he comes. He's going to draw down as well, using the same line that Anna did. Try and draw right on top of the red stone and maybe even push it back a little bit. Score we have here, it's 5-1 after 3 ends. We are playing the 4th end. Last rock does belong to Villemaire and Ishida. If you joined us late, we're also joined on color commentary by Greg Drummond, a great curler himself out of Scotland. Almost got that wrong. And now a coach with the British Centre in Stirling, and working closely with the 2 Scottish teams that are here with us at our competition. Great to have you here, Greg, and thanks for coming on with us.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
Now, we know someone back home is probably watching. Is there anybody you want to say hi to?
Oh, who's watching back home? Middle of the night. Maybe my girlfriend's not doing any work and watching curling. Who knows?
Now, you're also joined here with another coach, I think Nancy. Have you been you work closely with her then?
Yep, we've been working real close all season. So Nancy's also working with the mixed doubles program back in Scotland. She's been coaching for a number of years. I won't say how many.
Can't be more than 5. Well, successfully moved one of the rocks over. Does expose a good 3/4 of the Fowler shot rock on the button, so at least successfully moving it off. Would have liked to have got a little more of that and opened that center up, but did effectively move it off the center line, and certainly will create a better opportunity to get at that red one later in the end. But Fowler and Fowler don't want to let that happen. They're going out near the edge of the 12-foot. As we said, 5.5 to 6 feet of curl we're getting here. That's where they've got to go to bend it around. They want to put it in the top of the house or just in front and block off this path down to that red stone to secure it as a shot rock as this end moves on into the midpoint. We are here at the Canmore Golf and Curling Club. We did go to Banff for the very first draw between Terry Meeks and Cheryl Bernard, who played against Nadine Scotland and Charlie Thomas. Charlie Thomas and Nadine Scotland coming back to win that game. And now we've been at Canmore all day covering coverage from here, and that's where we are bringing you this game between Fowler and Fowler, English team, and our local Banff juniors, Annika Villemaire and Sora Ishida. We are playing the 4th end. It is 5-1 for Fowler, but the hammer does belong to Villemaire and Ishida. We've got Sora in the house, looking at probably trying to draw around and get a rock on top of that shot rock. And maybe even moving it just a little bit out to the other side so they can play on it later. All right, it's no secret this game. Get the right line, get the right weight, and things good will happen. All right, Sora's let it go. He'll pop up quickly as they do to provide sweeping. Annika's going to give him some guidance here. She seems to have him on it. He's going hard. She's called him off. This one needs to curl. He seems to have really good weight, though. Really good weight. This is starting to snap over nice. If he can just get it here, he's going to have a great shot. They're both on it now. Well, just a little bit light, but it's still very usable. That's a very dangerous stone still for Fowler and Fowler because it can easily be advanced back and probably on a bit of an angle that they can at least get the shot by tapping the red probably about a foot back. So certainly not exactly where they wanted, but still a dangerous rock. Looks like Fowler and Fowler are going to come down this side again. Not sure if the call's out in front or to come around. One thing we've learned all week with mixed doubles, oftentimes you don't really know what's being thrown. Normally that's because there's nobody in the house holding a broom, but also they work so quickly and automatically that you don't always catch the call. So does look like it's a guard situation based on how that's coming in. They've got really good line. They want to get it over just a little bit to protect that raise, and it seems like they're going to do so. You can really see as these rocks slow down, they will come over. You really have to be out wide. If not, you'll lose it. It'll fall off the line. One other thing we've noticed, especially with some of the club curling teams, obviously it's great and exciting that they're playing in this. A little softer handle, and sometimes it's hard to control that rock. It'll really get away from you. You do need that positive release, a little more rotation than you might be used to if you're playing on regular club ice.
Yeah, Steve, I think that's just an indication of the quality of the ice and the rocks that we have here. We saw that with the last couple there. Ben Fowler throws a pretty good rock, and we're getting almost 6 feet of curl on a guard.
One thing viewers may not know, because I have to admit to not knowing it until about 3 years ago, a lot of times we paper the rocks. Maybe tell us a little bit about what that does.
Yeah, it just textures up the underside of the rock, the running band, so that it can grab the pebble on the curling ice a little bit more effectively and allow the curlers to make some nice come around draws, the taps round guards.
That rock just not curling. I don't know if that might be the rock. That's about the second time we've seen Sora throw down the side. And doesn't seem to be too much over rotation. Fairly clean release, just not curling in for him. I don't know. I mean, you obviously do follow the rocks. I think that's part of the skill in this game, and part of one of those differentiating factors on really good teams, that they really get to look at the rocks and they scout them and they find out. Have you found any big gaps or differences? Don't tell me which one or where, but have you noticed that throughout the week?
I think that's just a skill. It's part of the game. It really separates the top teams. They really hone into the characteristics that each rock has. You will see some that run a little bit straighter, a little bit faster. Some might curl a little bit more, and the quicker a team can pick those up, they can use it to their advantage.
It's very true. I did hear from someone in an interview once where they would always take the curliest rock, because that way the other team couldn't follow it, and they try to take the ice and they wouldn't understand, and
sure,
they'd eventually pick up on that, but it would give them a bit of an early advantage. So as you say, we look at these pieces of granite and we just assume they're all identical, and that's far from the truth.
It's also important for the player to try and throw the rock the same every time and make sure it comes out the hand the same. If that's consistent, it should be much, much easier to pick up on those small rock characteristics.
Fowler and Fowler here with Anna's last rock and the team's last rock in this, the fourth end, choosing to block up that hole and really making it difficult for Ishida and Villemaire to have much of a shot to get in and make a play. It looks like the only opportunity they're going to have is to slash that outside blue in. The good news with the slash, if it is made successfully, they do have a chance to get two in the end, but certainly not the easiest shot to play. But there's not much else. At least with this type of risk, there is a big reward, and that's two instead of one. The other thing is, Sora's pointing out, if he does happen to catch it a bit thick, there is the chance to drive it back, and almost a natural double if he catches a quarter of that top red. So a couple of choices here for them if they do play that slash. So seems to be the only shot they have, and they seem to be lining up the angle, and Annika will have to watch and keep an eye on the ice while Sora provides some sweeping after he throws it. So they're just confirming on it, but I think that looks to be where they're leaning towards playing. Do you see anything else, Greg, other than that slash?
No, I think the slash is the call here. If you make this good, you've got a chance at scoring two and getting back into this game. It's probably around a half a rock. Anna's played a pretty nice guard, but it's just probably over curled slightly to leave that slash in with the blue.
Yeah. Although you couldn't block it all, and I think the draw into that path, quite natural. If you make that hole, you're making the shot. And they guess they felt the slash to be a harder percentage shot, and the draw through a little easier. So probably why they erred on that side.
Yeah, it's a lower percentage shot for sure, but I think it's worth a go at this stage in the game.
Yeah. Oh, Looks like they've just decided to throw it away and give up the one. Certainly, if they did try to play it through and missed and knocked their own out, there was a chance of giving 3 or 4, which could have put the game to an end. So not a bad decision. We've seen Kevin Martin in the final throw a rock away and leave the situation there. So why not our juniors?
Well, it didn't end well for him. So let's see how it goes with this. I think that was worth a go.
You were there, were you?
No, I was far too young to be playing.
All right, well, we wait for the 5th end, the second half of the game to start. We are going to say thank you to our sponsors. This is the Qualico Mixed Doubles Classic, because Qualico is our major sponsor. It's been great to have them around. They've been great to work with. Look forward to working with them for years to come, and we thank them very much. We've got 3 silver sponsors in the Malcolm Hotel, Vision Electronics, Bow Valley Credit Union, of course, a number of local businesses. You can see them all there on the screen, and Asham, a curling supplier. All of these companies have helped make this event what it is, allowed us to put on a wonderful event, not just for the participants, but for the community. Greg, as you look around here, I mean, there's lots of people here. These stands have been filled, and great support we're getting from the community, and certainly nice to see it. Maybe comment a little bit. There's lots of spectators that get out on the ice. Is that something that the players like to see? Can they feed off that energy? I think I've heard in the past that one of the things players like about playing in Canada is there's a lot of spectators, and it makes them feel proud and energized. Is that the case?
I think all the players would say they love playing in front of a crowd, and I've been coming to Canada for 10 years now, and when you come to clubs like this that are just absolutely packed full of fans, it just makes for a more enthralling experience. You know, the fans in Canada, they're so knowledgeable, they know a lot about the game, and they love it when we come over from Scotland.
Yeah, well, we've got Villemaire and Ishida with the hammer in this end, down 6-1, but with the hammer, a chance to hopefully generate a few points. Anna, though, throwing an absolute beautiful shot there, exactly where her coach drew it on a telestrator right in front of me, coming around the middle into the center and getting it on top of that blue. And Annika with a chance, there's a little bit of room to draw around herself and put one right on top of that and begin generating some offense here. She's telling it to slow down. We'll see if it can. She'll know better than us because she's following it down the ice. Just a quick update. We look over to sheet 1 where we have Hodgson and Carey. They're undefeated in their final game of that pool, and they're playing against Thomas in Scotland. They are also undefeated. Right now it is 5-2. Just trying to figure out who's who. So we'll let you know as soon as we can confirm that. It does look like it's Thomas and Scotland up 5-2, but we'll confirm that once they get down to throw their next shot. On the sheet next to them, we have Roth and Nürburger. They're the U.S. team up here playing, one of the U.S. teams. They're out there against Terry Meek and Cheryl Bernard, who gave a great run this morning to the team of Scotland and Thomas, and almost beat them, but didn't. Anyways, Nürburgring and Roth are playing against Meek and Bernard, and currently Roth and Nürburger are up 7-1, taking a 4 end in the last end and the third end. So we'll keep an eye on these games as they go. We can confirm that it is Scotland and Thomas up in that game. They're up 5-2. We'll keep an eye. The winner of that will win the pool. The loser, at least they'll get a chance to play in the championship round. These are the 2 teams out of the pool that will go on, but still an important game. You'd like to get the bye. There's more money the deeper you go in. Speaking about money, we have a $29,000 purse, $10,000 to the first place, $5,000 to the second. A lot at stake here for these curlers as they play. And we'll get back to our game now. We are 5th end. Fowler and Fowler, Villemaire, Ishida. And Soares throwing his first stone down. Ben putting a wonderful shot down, following his sister down. They've got 2 beautiful rocks in the house. And Soares going to try and draw down on top and just move them around a little bit and take that top position. He's on it, which is really usually a really good sign. That means that he likes it. You've got Annika calling him to try and get it around the guard. He's going hard. Does he have it? Yes, he does. Let's just see what he can do now. A little bit of a bump would be helpful here. Create a bit of a backing in the back of the 4. It does pop out a bit in the open, so Fowler and Fowler will be able to get down on the inside of that. But a really nice shot there. Really good sweeping and really nice line calling by Annika to keep him on it. And certainly moving more rocks into the back of the house. That's good backing. We always say if you're the team with last rock, a rock behind the tee line is your friend, because you can certainly use it to generate points. And we saw that in this afternoon's game when Burchard and Schneider used those rocks in the last end, forcing Jenny to a draw to the 8-foot. She couldn't execute it. The steal of 2. Burchard and Schneider go on, and the Olympic silver medalists are done in our tournament. Anyways, back to Fowler and Fowler. Ben Fowler, sibling with Anna. He has just thrown his rock. He's on it. Anna's calling for the sweep. Ben's grinding down on it, sweeping hard. He's holding it out there. Looks like he's got a good shot coming from the line coming in. It's coming in really nice. Anna's calling hard, and Ben is responding. He's dragging this rock. They're trying to get it in. Anna now jumping up but going back. Oh, a nice shot. Got it into the 4-foot. Actually curled out the other side. Still in a great position in front of the tee line, in the front of the 4-foot. Very usable stone if they need to later on. But currently sitting shot rock is Ishida and Villemaire. Looks like they're going to come around the other side and draw in. Not quite sure yet. We'll keep an eye. We watch a lot of broom movement. That usually gives us some of the indication. But the two players usually conversate quite far away and not always sure what they're looking to call. I think they're settling in on drawing in behind that. Would be a good spot. There's lots of room. With 6 foot of curl, you can get around a rock, even in the top 4, and probably get 3/4 buried. Probably can get down and at least be half on top of that back red stone that is at the back of the button. So sort of out with the throw. He threw a great shot last time. If he can keep that same weight, he'll probably get another good one in. He's indicating it might be a bit up. He does have that backing of that red one, so a little up isn't as bad. It's starting to come now. It's got to come a little more, though. Wants to get to at least the inside of that red if he's heavy. Here it comes. I think he's going to do that. He's probably going to get a nice little rub in over onto the red one, on the blue one, sorry. Well, the one thing that they have going is they have 4, count it, 1, 2, 3, 4 blues in the house. There are 2 well-positioned red ones, but if those can be removed, there's certainly a chance for a big end, but still a lot that has to happen. Fowler and Fowler are in good position. They do have second and third shot, and it looks like they're just going to play a little tap on their top 4 red rock, try and move it back into scoring position, and they'll have coverage not only from the guard out front, but the rock that's just thrown. So Ben's in the house. He's just letting it go now. Anna's down watching the line. No action yet on sweeping. Keeping her eye. This is seemingly staying out. It's trying to come over, but it looks like they might start playing it on the back blue one because it's not going to come over enough to contact their own. Here it goes. It's coming over and gets right to nose. So moves the blue one back. Sits for third shot. So now Fowler and Fowler have second, third, and 4th shot available to him. But the blue rock on the left, while you can still get to it, it is a tricky one now to get out. And there's lots of backing on the right-hand side if you slash it across. And if you try to get to nose, you might rack on the guard of the top red one. So certainly a little bit of stuff building up on the right-hand side for Fowler and Fowler, but still some opportunities with that red one going in behind the tee line for Sora to lock one right in here and get it in there for first and second shot. So a chance to generate some good offense here. Let's see how the juniors can do. Well, we can update you while Sora throws this. It seems that hands have been shaken on sheet 2. So Rotha Nürburger will defeat Meek and Bernard in their last game. Sora's let it go. He's out to the broom. If he's got the right weight, this should curl in nicely. Seemingly he does. He's down liking it because he's on and off again. Watching it come in, it's really got to curl though. It's got to come across. It's got to come over more to get on that red one, and I'm not sure it's going to. It just sails wide. You know, I'd love to know whether that's the same rock he threw last end that stayed out there. Could be that he's got a rock running a bit straight. You watched the release, though. It didn't seem to be too off. Seemed to be similar to his last one, but that one just didn't curl.
That's a few rocks down that line now that we've seen just go a little bit too long, so maybe that path's getting a little quick. Certainly on Ben Fowler's one, I thought there was enough curl there to get to the nose of the red one to tap it to the top of the button, but it didn't, a little bit strong in weight and just didn't curl. Maybe they need to tighten up the ice a little bit.
Yeah, certainly when you've been watching 5.5 to 6 feet of curl, it's hard to believe it's less, but you're right, there are always little runs in the ice, and I guess as you said earlier, teams that pick up on those types of things quick certainly can get a great advantage, and I think we've seen that down the right side, so we'll see as we move forward in this game if one of them picks up on it and takes a little less ice for those shots.
Absolutely.
But I can see Fowler and Fowler. I mean, you wouldn't want to cheat that ice and then open up that center. So certainly the error would be to be on the outside. You wouldn't want to give that advantage back.
For sure. There's certainly been opportunities for both teams in this end. But it looks like this is a great chance for Anna Fowler to lock up potentially another point for her team.
Is she? You think she's playing the tap back on the top red? Is that the call, or is she just
but this
drawing?
one looks like it's just hanging out there. Maybe the adjustment hasn't been made.
No, it's starting to come across. So if it can come across and get a little rub off that back red, it can get in. But no, it will rack on the front one. Kind of got caught in between two shots there.
I think caught in between two there. There was an option maybe to switch up to the B shot and play the little flop off the back red at the back of the forefoot. Might have been enough to sneak shot.
Well, the good news, though, at least the end result is it does block off the shot that Villemaire and Ishida could have played to come around to it. So certainly it's hard to get in there for a second one.
Yep. It was certainly a pro side miss from Anna there. It's going to be tough to score any more than 1 point.
And that blue rock is still a little bit accessible. Now that they've moved the red over, I don't think they can get that blue out on the left side, because anything they do, there is probably a small gap between those back reds, but awful courageous to take that on.
I would say so. I think this might be a shot to nothing. I think we'll be seeing one blue on the board.
Not sure what the call here is with Annika. I think they're sitting the one. I guess if they draw around that, they can probably get in for second with a perfect shot. There's enough curl that it could come in and bite that four, but it looks like she's throwing it away. Looks like she sees there's not really much of a chance. Don't want to mess that up.
Yeah,
so
as we expected, just a throw through.
Yeah. They'll take the one. That's one. It'll go to two. They're down 6-2 against Fowler and Fowler. Chance to start over again next end and start to generate. They will be throwing the first stone. Chance to come around and get position. And they will, of course, have the center guard, because in mixed doubles, you start, if you don't have last rock, with a center guard, while the opponents will put one on the back of the four, something you can play down to. So this is a great sport for creating offense, things that people like to see. Certainly in the regular game, they added the free guard zone because they wanted more offense and more action for the fans. I think I recall watching a game of Kevin Martin's where they peeled for 9 ends and threw one draw in. It was 1-0.
Well, certainly the free guard zone has made the game a little bit more exciting for the supporters, and then the introduction of the 5-rock rule has just advanced that. As the skill of the players gets better.
Yeah, the other thing I find with this game is it's fast. It's
fast, yeah.
And you know, curling, it's kind of like I've evolved in golf, and when you get into 5-hour rounds, that's long. If you get it to a nice quick 2 or 3 and play in 3.5, that's much more enjoyable. Same with curling. These games are playing in an hour and a half or so, and that's a better time than maybe 2 hours 15.
Yeah, I don't play too many rounds of golf that are 18 holes. I tend to stop after 11, and that's usually just because it's not going very well. Our course is set up pretty nice that I can walk in after 11.
Do you carry a handicap at all?
I have done in the past, but to be honest, I don't get time to play that much, so I'd be a mid-teen handicapper. My girlfriend's a lot better than me, so she gets the bragging rights in the house, that's for sure. She's from a golfing family, so it's just nice to be able to take part in a social level.
That's great. Well, especially if it's a golfing family, you kind of have to know how to play.
For sure.
But it's good that you don't win. That's probably a good strategy.
It's a strategy. It's a tactic.
Well, we see that the Fowlers are going to deploy the power play again. For those maybe just joining us or who haven't been watching us all along, the power play is when the team with last rock puts their rock with the back of it against the tee line, and it straddles the 8-foot and 12-foot. A rock is put out front for the first throwing team. The guard is off the center line. It's actually 3 feet 7 inches over. And the path between the rock and the house and the hack, it's supposed to perfectly dissect that. The team taking the power play is allowed to make sure that it's lined up and adjust the rocks to their liking. That's their right. And that's the way it was. Villemaire and Ishida are choosing to try and draw around it. Normally we've seen people come from the outside and push the blue rock towards the center or in the house. But certainly in the situation there and where they're down and needing to generate points, they're looking to take advantage of this and try and draw around. Not quite getting there, but Annika had perfect weight. Could that have gotten around?
I think this was a good ploy for Team Fowler. Fowler to play the power play here. They'll look to put a couple of points on the board and just really extend that lead.
Yeah, and then as we said,
Villemaire, Ishida, they have theirs left to play. Probably have to use it in the next end.
Yep.
Assuming Fowler score a point here.
Yeah, that's true. You have to have hammer to call the power play. You can't call it unless you have hammer.
I was a little bit surprised they didn't go power play in the last end at 5-1 down, 6-1 down. Sorry. They obviously believed they could still put a 2-3 points on the board and save the power play for the extra ends late in the game.
Yeah, we've also seen the power play not just used to generate offense. We've seen it used late in the game when you've got a lead as a way to keep that play away from the center line and be able to force it, just like we saw with the Rios Pereira game. I mean, they kept it out on the side, exactly what they want to do with the power play. Just missed the draw at the end, but you know, when you get in these games, I think you give any skip a chance to draw that draw the 8 foot. That's what you'd like to have, and that's what that does allow you to do later in the game when you have a lead too.
Absolutely, I would imagine Team Fowler they'll be quite smart about how they play this end. They'll try and make sure they don't give up steal. You know, scoring one's still okay for them in this stage of the game.
Yeah, that rock of Sora's just over
them
curling.
To play a little hit and roll off this blue one here. Try and drag that play away from the 4 foot again.
Looks like what they're playing. I think you're right. It looks like Anna's going to go down and join Ben and give some sweeping. A lot of times with hits, it's a little easier to pick your line out because the rock's not moving as much. You've got a good visual, so we do get the second player down off in the sweep, and the thrower will just stay in behind and call that line for them.
We see this with Team Fowler. Anna comes down to sweep Ben's hits.
Yep, she's on it now really hard. It's really taking off on her. This is really taking off. That is over curled. Well, and one way we'll remove that rock. They still have the 2 corner guards not belonging to them, but they're still usable to create that offense on the side. Looks like, though, Ishida and Villemaire will try to block up the front there and protect this rock in the 4 foot, hoping it's good enough when it gets to the end that Fowler would have to outdraw that, and they'll be able to steal the 1. But for now, it looks like they're going to put up that center line guard, probably the right strategy, and probably Fowler will look to remove that stone if it's left there.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened. That maybe Ben just got a little bit inside on it, maybe a little bit down on weight, but it certainly grabbed the line and curled. So an opportunity here to put the center guard on and really advance the steal.
Well, Annika's down, as we've been talking about. Good 5 3/4 feet, like she's taking on this. Almost 6 feet of curl. You've got to get it way out here because in the last 3 or 4 feet, as this rock slows down, it'll go sideways. And I would think if you're going to miss this shot anywhere, you'd want to miss it on the left side because with the other rock on the right, that does make a port to go through. So anywhere you want to miss it on that left side.
Yeah, certainly the pro side miss here is just a little bit on the high side, which leaves a tougher shot for Ben.
Yeah, here they go. Arsora's trying to drag that as close as he can. Obviously, they want it close in, and they also want to get it over to the center line, and they have done just that.
I think
great
that's a good
line
shot.
calling, great weight. And some claps coming from the crowd out here.
The good thing with that guard is they got some real good distance from the shot rock in the house there. It just makes the run back take out a little bit harder, so Ben probably has to look at just the single peel here.
Yeah, because the risk when you don't is you leave that your rock up, and now you've got 2 guards. So you're right, probably just single peel. Of course, you have to watch if they come cross face. They could run it right back and jam it on that red. Always something you have to be careful about. But no, they're coming from the right side of this. Going to remove that rock and roll theirs over and out of play, and exactly what they wanted to do. Get that opened up. It's not easy throwing guards. It's not easy to place a guard, and when you don't, you expose yours and give that advantage back.
The perfect guard is a tough shot on ice that curls 6 feet. It's a hard shot. It's a hard shot to sweep.
Yeah.
Takes a lot of skill.
Yeah, looks like they want to put that back again. Yeah, obviously, I think it's the right call. They've got a rock in a great position there, and they want to put one back out in front. He just threw this rock. Same release, same weight, and should get same result.
I would expect him to be fairly close with this one. Same broom, same speed.
Yeah, Villemaire and Ishida, of course, 2 junior curlers playing out of the Banff Curling Club. Of course, Banff and Canmore work closely together, so you could say they're also part of Canmore too. They've gotten lots of support throughout the week for this event. A great opportunity for them to get out and not just test their skills against the world's best, but get out and have some fun playing curling at a very top competitive level. Sora's just let that go. It seemed to get out to the broom. He's now just got to guide it down with Annika's help to the right spot. Do want to, as we said last shot, keep it high side or left of the center line as their plan B, but it looks like this is going to come over nicely, and Sora's really sweeping this hard. Annika's going to come out. They want to keep it going to get it over there. You see that great finish that we're getting. Great finish on the rocks. You know, like we said, it's really hard to throw a guard when there's 6 feet of curl, and Sora has just thrown 2 great shots.
Yeah, that's two great shots there.
Well, we're looking over now at sheet number 1. We're going to get you an update, but we had a 4-ender in the 4th while we were watching this game. So we're going to try and find out who got that 4-ender and what just happened in the 5th end. So certainly lots of stuff happening. That's the game between Charlie Thomas and Nadine Scotland playing Carey and Hodgson. And the winner of that will win the pool. And the second place team certainly still will go through, but you want to get that advantage, even if not mentally, over the other team, and you really want to win this game. So as we look down and see, we have got Hodgson and Carey, who just scored 3 of their own after Thomas and Scotland scored 4. So lots happening, and just showing that in this game no lead is ever safe, and 3s and 4s are available with lots of rocks in play and any types of angles that can come up. Have you seen a lot of 3s and 4s? We've seen 5s. I think we even saw a 6 once out there.
I think we've seen every score possible this week.
It'd be a great game to play bingo with.
But certainly we see a lot of 3-enders scored in mixed doubles, and it makes for an exciting game, certainly on the power plays.
Yeah. It's such a touchy game because you really can't remove. By the time you can remove is probably not the right strategy to start hitting rocks, because you miss and you roll out and you're giving a lot up with only 5 rocks to throw too. You don't have 8.
You run out of rocks very quickly. The players have definitely found that out. You need to be quite smart about when you manipulate things in the forefoot and allow yourself enough time to create a good scoring zone. Yeah, we saw Ben Fowler there just try to switch up strategy a little bit. They were chasing short rock, knowing that if they ticked the guard, they may roll into the rings. Ultimately, he essentially just peeled the guard. So Villemaire, Ishida have a little decision to make here. Do they throw the 3rd guard in a row to try and steal, or do they actually come into the rings and just play for force?
Yeah, it looks like they're talking about coming in and maybe even just splitting off of that blue rock. They have to be careful because there is 1 red that's in the house right now. So you do want to make sure if you come in, you're sitting at 2, but that you're also not sitting in a place where they can make a double and stick around.
Certainly need to be aware of where they place this rock if they come into the rings, because Anna might take on the double.
And like we talked about, you know, throwing these guards is very, very tough. And if you just overcurl a little bit, like Ben and Ann just tried there, they weren't far off. They could have drawn around and chipped out and sat too. So certainly the obvious shot might be just to throw the guard up there, but it's also the one that gives the greatest opportunity for Ben and Anna to score there too. If it's not absolutely perfect, with 6 feet of ice, you can throw a little bit of weight and move rocks through. So I think they're doing the right call. They're going to come around. They will leave themselves exposed, but if they can get around in a way that they're close to the forefoot, a nose hit might not give Anna and Ben the shot stone.
I would imagine Anna and Ben will be fairly happy if they have a shot for 1 here. You know, they're in full control of the scoreboard. A 7-2 lead with 2 ends to play looks fairly good more times than not. So let's see how this pans out.
Yeah, they say when you're up, your best friend's the last end, so you just want to get to that finish line. Well, here comes Annika. Deliver it out there, obviously trying to draw around. Do want to make sure they're in for 2nd shot. Looks like they're going to play off their own and get a little bit of a rub and split them around here. She's waving it over. It is coming over. It's coming over. It's coming over hard. There we go. A great shot. A good result if it'll just sit down. As we look overhead, hard to tell, but I do think red might be 2nd shot here.
Yeah, just a little bit strong from Annika. I think that's been the story of her game. We've seen that with her first rock a couple of times. Just a little bit fast, maybe struggling to adjust to the speed of the ice. certainly an opportunity for Anna Fowler here to score 2 points.
Yeah, they have to be careful. If they jam it on the back one, they certainly would only get one. And, of course, if they do miss it, it could roll out. But an opportunity, as you say, to score 2. A little bit of a delicate shot because they probably want to hit 3/4 on, as you call the high side, or I call the left side.
I would expect Anna just to throw an out turn at this and give Ben the opportunity to hold it up, keep it off the centre line, and just keep that back rock out of play.
We did see earlier in the end, one of Ben's throws down the center line did take off on him. Don't always know why that happens, so we'll see here. They've obviously pointed us some ice, and I don't think she'll overthrow it. As you said, we'll give Ben a chance to sweep it. So he's gone it really hard right away. He's holding it there. He's holding it there. It's curling. It might jam it on the back. No, I don't think so. Yes, it does. So from the overhead, it looks like red 1. Certainly not 2. They tap it. It is 1. 1 for Fowler and Fowler. And so we'll go on to the 7th end now. It will be 7-2, but Ishida Villemaire playing quite well and keeping themselves in this game, and they will have Hammer and a chance to generate. I think they would call the power play here.
I would expect them to call power play here. Anna Fowler just got a little bit caught out there. We saw that with Ben's rock, just a little bit of curl on the line, so...
Yeah, maybe there's a spot coming down there, because that's a few we've seen now take off.
Well, certainly that's right through the slide path, so maybe there's just a little bit of a little bit less pebble in that spot, maybe.
So we say we've seen a lot of different strategies on the power play. One, you come on the outside, bump yours to the center line, in the house or in front, and you roll out. You can't do a takeout until the 4th shot, but the shot you throw certainly can go out of play. We've also seen draw around and freeze on top, and we've seen just a straight draw as a guard. What kind of strategy do you look to deploy, or does it depend on how many you're ahead? Or?
I think it's very dependent on the score line. I think with a commanding lead here, I'd expect Anna to attempt the tick on the corner guard, just chip it into the paint and roll her shooter away. It really just takes the chances of a big 3-ender out of play if they make this shot. There's still opportunities, of course, but ultimately the precision needs to be a little bit more precise from the opposition.
It's over curling a bit. Catch it probably thicker than they want. We'll see if it runs it through the house. Again, you need some weight to move it over on the tick, but if you catch it a little full, you can knock it through. Exactly what we see. And as we said, you can't remove a stone until the 4th shot, so the rock will be replaced, and of course the thrown rock removed. Obviously that wasn't exactly the way it happened. They left the other one through, but that's the essence of what happened. They replace the stone and the other one goes out of play, and Annika will have a chance to start and draw around here, I would suspect, and bury a second one on top of her blue one, giving them a bit of an advantage early.
I would say so. A little bit thick there from Anna on the tick, maybe a little bit heavy as well. We'll see Villemaire just attempt this in-turn draw around the guard to try and generate a multiple point end. This is quite a key shot just to set the tone of the power play.
Yeah, she's up. I mean, sweeping is always means that they like it. She's on, she's off, so she certainly likes the weight. Has a ways to curl, but the good thing is, if you tick on a guard, you miss it. If you leave it out in the open, they still can't take it out. So the key is to get this rock into play and as close as you can over there, knowing that Fowler and Fowler can't remove it. They certainly can freeze down on that situation and take it away.
That's a really good effort there. It's just under-curled by about a stone. It looks like we're going to see Ben Fowler just attempt the tick, knowing that we can't remove any rocks in the paint. So they see benefit in trying the chip in with the corner guard one more time.
And certainly if they can, those rocks are close enough together that a double is
it's
likely. It's
almost a gimme double, I would say. So if this shot's made, they'll be in no danger of losing more than 2 points.
Well, it looks like it is. He's holding it there. He's going to catch maybe a quarter of this rock, which is exactly what they wanted to do and move it over. Maybe not as much as they had hoped for.
Just a little bit thin.
Yeah, still leaving, and in fact, actually protecting the rock that you would need to hit to make the double. So actually not working out that great, but certainly moving it over a little bit and exposing the one stone and allowing them to at least get at that one, but takes away the double from the inside as it would appear right now.
Still in the balance, but certainly Team Fowler are going to have to work for a positive result out this power play. Villemaire Ishida looking like favourites to score 2 points at the moment.
Well, they called the guard, thrown very well. It looks like it's in a good position. I think it went into the house, which is actually probably a good thing. It gets another rock in the house. They do need to score multiples here, and they've got 3 in play. There is a good chance for Fowler and Fowler to remove at least 1, if not 2. There is a thin double off that, but certainly the name of the game right now is to clear that side up a little bit. Might even look to run their red guard back. There's such a wide berth of what they could hit. You'd almost think that might be the call and roll over the center.
Certainly, if the run back's a shot that you have in your arsenal, it's worth thinking about at least. But there's a couple options with the double takeout. I think Team Fowler really just need to reassess their strategy here. It's about giving up no more than 2 points with such a commanding lead.
Absolutely.
So I'd expect them just to make a couple of doubles.
Yep. Lots of weight thrown, and Anna's on it. It looks like it's going to catch that quarter. Is it thin enough? And it is. What a great throw by Ben there. A great call, and that's a great example of how that rock actually came right back up.
A little bit unlucky that he didn't stick that one, or at least keep it in the paint somewhere. Got a lot of action off the rocks.
Yeah, he threw that quite heavy, as you need to when you're going to move a lot of granite, and a really nice throw. Caught it thin enough to get rid of the 2, and like you said, it's about eliminating stones when you're up. You just don't want to leave any blues around. And a really nice delivery and a nice result. But now a chance for Sora to bury one in around here and hopefully sit 2 and keep the pressure on Fowler. And Fowler, as they try to generate a multiple end so that they're close coming home in 8.
Still an opportunity to score multiple points here if we make this in turn come around. I wouldn't be surprised to see Team Fowler hit the open rock with such a commanding lead, so that would bring a 3-point score into play.
Well, Sora's out. Nice slide. Great technique he has. He's up and he's keeping it going. Usually when you're on and off again, a great sign. He likes it. Annika's there cheering him on in terms of the line and giving him some guidance. Sora's sweeping it. Want to get it there. Want to get it in to sit 2. Looks like they'll accomplish that. Now they're trying to take it back to bury it, trying to encourage it over. Annika jumps in to take over, guiding it across. Still about, I'd say, 7/8 exposed, but that rock will still prove a problem, that red one. It's still in the way and still gives you something that you can tick off of.
Still a really good effort.
Yeah, seem to have found their draw weight. Annika throwing a nice one down there and Sora throwing one down there. They've seemed to have adjusted from being a bit heavy earlier on. Maybe that's just being excited, or maybe
we picked up on that early in the game that they had a few misses just on the heavy side. So maybe today they've just taken a little bit longer to adjust to the speed of the ice. Certainly that was a strength of Anna and Ben's game. They had good control over the draw weight with.
Yeah, taking it out. So they'll still sit 1. Do you think Ben threw that a bit heavy because in the last end the one over curled and Anna's, and they just wanted to make sure of it? Because the worst thing would have been an over curl there.
Yeah, Ben throws a lot of heat with those takeouts. That was a real thin attempt at the double. It was
okay.
You're not going to make that one too many times, but he erred on the pro side. Worst case scenario, it's going to be a score of 2 now, so that would be objective met probably. Yep. It was probably worth a go.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Well, Sora's in. They're going to draw to the open side, split the rings. As you saw that last attempt by Ben for the double, certainly both Ben and Anna capable of making doubles, even if they're not close together. So Sora and Annika making sure that they separate these as much as they can. As it sits right now, they don't have to worry about it being close to the button. They just have to worry about it getting into the paint. I want to give a quick shout out. We've got people watching us, the live stream here in DeWinton, Alberta. In fact, just outside of DeWinton, Alberta is where they're hosting the provincial juniors, both men and women's. So good luck to all the competitors there. They're getting into the playoffs, and we wish everyone luck there. And we thank them for tuning in and watching, and hopefully they're enjoying some great curling as they listen to Greg Drummond and they watch an exciting English team that if they can win this game will go 5-0 in their pool and move on. Of course, Sora and and Annika haven't won yet, but they've been curling really well. Only lost by 2 in their last game, and are really giving them a bit of trouble here through this game, but haven't generated quite enough to get really close yet. But certainly these games are never over, and they're sitting 2. If they can score 2 here, then you know what? 3 is not out of the question.
No, I think key priority here is make sure you score your 2, then take it down the last, just get some good setup.
Well, certainly Anna and this
They'll maybe need some help from Team Fowler, but who knows?
Well, like you said, they're just going to hit this rock out. She's got this outside. It is tracking. It is not coming back with that little bit of extra weight. It's trying to now, but no, it didn't come back. A very rare miss from Anna. Very rare miss from this team in general. They've gone 4-0 through our pool play. They've taken down the top seeds in their pool. Of course, a very good team in themselves, so the difference between a top seed and a mid seed is really a little bit unknown. And certainly in mixed doubles, where we still have mixed doubles teams and 2 good curlers coming together and a lot of different competitions, it's hard to seed them. And I should ask you, when we were doing the seeding for this event, we tried to find international rankings, and we really struggled to find a really reliable source out there that could give us some hint to the players' abilities in that.
Yeah, I think that's a project for now until next season, really. You know, is formulating a ranking system that's fair across the board and that the players like, and you know, points are given where the strength of field is better.
Well, here
certainly there'll be collaboration with some of the players, stakeholders around the World Curling Tour, really to get the system right, because the discipline is in its infancy, like we say.
Yeah. Yeah, but part of the development and growth of it, as you say, is creating these things. Annika's thrown her last stone. Chance for 3. It is going. Ben's going to try and take it through. Is it going to slow down in time? No, it just goes through. A great attempt. They still will get the 2 that end. It still puts them at 7-4 down. A chance to score 3 here. There you go. Even though they gave up 2 and they missed their last shot, that's the type of thing you like to see with the team. A little hand slap with the Fowlers. They know what they have to do this end. They're in control of it. They're up 3. They have the hammer. A place I'm sure they've been before. They just have to execute, as you say. Just execute. If you make the miss, make the right miss. But more importantly, make the shots. And they have a chance to win this game right here.
Yep, strategy so it should be fairly simple for Team Fowler here. Just run their opposition out of rocks. Nothing too much to think about.
Well, we set up the rocks here. We've got Villemaire and Ishida, who took 2 that end. A nice 2. We'll have a chance here to draw one down behind cover and right on top of the pin and start to try and generate what they need, which is 3 points this end. Fowler and Fowler, of course, as Greg said, will just try to eliminate these rocks and run them out of stones so that they can end the game. So here we go to the start of this exciting 8th end. We've got the local team of juniors and Sora and Annika playing. A great opportunity, playing 2 great world athletes. Then they'll be able to watch them play in their national championships and hopefully at a world championships and maybe in an Olympics. It's really nice to get a chance to meet these curlers and see some great curling while they themselves test their abilities. So great throw there from Annika. She just threw her last one through. That's a great ability to make an adjustment like that and throw the next one into the 4-foot. That's what you've got to learn to do.
That's what you have to learn to do, and they'll learn from their mistakes. They're young. Sometimes a draw to the ring seems easier than it looks, and you don't give it the same attention as you would give that first rock there. So yeah, no, it's all in all, it's a good learning experience for them.
And I'd have to think in mixed doubles, as you begin into it, as they don't play a whole ton of it, your thought process might be, I have to throw it to the button rather than I'm throwing it to the 12-foot and I've got to get up and sweep it there. You might try to overthrow things thinking I don't have sweepers and I've got to do it all myself.
I think it's just been really smart about bringing the sweeping into play and not trying to make the shot perfect out the hand.
And that's another thing I really like about this sport. We've talked about a few of the innovations and stuff. What I really like is in the regular game, as we call it, the 4-person game, you see those high percentages. You've got someone in the house, you've got 2 sweepers, and they use that to tremendous ability and skill in order to throw high percentages. In this type of game, with 1 sweeper and maybe not the same positioning to aim at, you see the percentages down. It doesn't mean they're not curling great and playing well, but you do see lower percentages.
I think from time to time we do see them down a little bit, but on a whole we see some top quality players still shoot big numbers. And the real good players, they'll adapt to it without the sweeping, and they'll figure out a way to make a curling shot.
We've got Villemaire and Ishida. They are trying to throw the stone down on top as a guard. I think they can actually bring it into the house, but they want to get it over, and they will. Trying to lock this on. If they get the right angle, they'd have it lined up on the back red. It will just over curl slightly, so they will leave a double here. That double will run them out of 2 more stones. Certainly done a good job of getting some blue in play, but that one just over curling and giving a Ben, who's a good hitter, a chance to throw some weight and remove those 2 stones.
Yeah, this is just an in-turn half-rock double for Ben here. I'd expect him to be close with this. Anna made a great tick shot with her first one, and that really just puts the opposition on the back foot. The scoring zone's wide open.
Yeah, with the addition of the free guard zone, and as we see the positioning in mixed doubles, that tick shot's become quite a skill.
Yep, some of the teams are really using that tick shot to their advantage.
A bit unfortunate there, but fortunate it didn't hit and jam, but that's why they throw a lot of weight, so that
a
if
little
they do
bit
get
of a
the
mistake
miss,
there from Ben, a little bit tight.
Still, though, in a good spot here, but I think you'll see Villemaire and Ishida draw down here, probably on top of that red one, would be my thought. Use it as some backing. It'll make it hard to remove.
Yep, I think it's just a corner freeze here on the red one, just to try and keep the angle. Hopefully get 3 in the rings. But still looking for some help from Team Fowler here.
Yeah, the one thing they are missing that we see a lot of ends is that guard out front. As you said, Anna making a wonderful tick shot to open it up, and that is going to be hard to steal when you don't have a guard out there. That's usually a prerequisite. We've seen it before, but that is one key piece that's missing that would help Ishida and Villemaire in their quest here. Well, it looks like they're playing the hit. Looks like they're going to hit and roll over and try and sit 3 really spread out. And there we go. We've got the sweep. It's going to hit. Is it going to sit down? No. Not a bad thought process. If that had rolled over under the guard, it would have been protected. Would have split it out and taken away a double, and may have allowed them to generate it. So
I think that's just a little bit of experience there. You know, they need to make the mistakes before they learn. They'll figure that out after the game, that maybe they should have played something different, and when they play their next one, they'll not make that mistake again.
Great point. We don't learn by doing it right. We
Absolutely.
always learn by
I think
our mistakes.
the top players in the world have all been there, and that's how they learn.
Well, Ben looks like he's making no mistake. Really nice release on that one. Straight down for nose hit, it looks like. And it'll stay in the house too. So now they really have to make a play on this, because they have to remove it because it's out counting the top blue. And it looks like a little hit and roll in behind that red. And then it looks like a little prayer.
I would say so.
Of course, that top blue one, it is out in the wings a bit, but it is fully exposed.
It's looking like Anna will have that contact hit for the game.
It is interesting, though. You're up 3, you're playing the last end, you have hammer, and yet we're getting late in the end, so you never know what can happen on a shot, but certainly looks like it's in control for Fowler, and they have been throwing very, very well. A few misses, but curling really, really well, and showing why they're the top in this pool, why they're at 5-0, why they came second at the Italian event, and why they're looking good going into the national championships next week.
Yep, absolutely. They've been on a good roll. They've been trending in the right direction. They're doing a lot of things right. You know, they're really receptive to coaching input. They just want to be better, and you know, as a coach, it's quite rewarding to have 2 athletes like that on our British program.
It looks like Sora's lining up. Needs to make a really good one here. Obviously, hit and sticking around is important, but if you can get this behind that red one, it would force the next shot out on that blue rock. And it is out in the wings, but you never know what could happen. He wants to hit and try and roll in behind this red one if he can. He's on sweeping it, coming in nice. And they do knock it out, but they roll out themselves, and that will run them out of rock. So a well-curled game by Fowler and Fowler to close out their pool play, ended at 5-0, and move on to the championship round. What a great experience, though, in week for Ishida and Villemaire, 2 junior curlers getting a thrill of a lifetime, not only meeting some of their top players, but also getting a chance to curl against them, too, and a thrill of a lifetime. So congratulations for them for coming. Now, Greg, I think we can get Fowler and Fowler over for a bit of an interview.
I'm sure we will manage that.
Do you think you could give that interview? I'd love to hear
I
what
could
you'd
try.
ask them. I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to go and get Fowler and Fowler over here. Instead of me talking to them, I want to see you talk to them and ask them a few questions and maybe open up about what they saw. Maybe ask them a few strategy stuff and see how they like curling against the juniors there.
I can do that for you, no problem.
Thanks a lot. So if you just want to stick around, we just concluded our game here. It will be, well, we don't know what they'll put up for a score, but nonetheless, Fowler and Fowler winning their pool 5-0. They'll go on to the championship. That'll be the end for Villemaire and Ishida, but a great week for them. And of course, we still have action going on over on sheet 1. They're in the 7th end, an end in which we're watching the 2 top teams in their pool. Both will go on, but who will go on as the top team and who will go on as second? Lots of scoring. We're already at 8-7, and we've got 2 more ends to go. The way they're going, we might actually get off the score sheet. Lots of rocks in play and lots of action. We're trying to get a sense of what's going on. It is Carey and Hodgson who are up 8-7, and they do have Hammer. So up 8-7 with Hammer playing in 7. And Chelsea Carey is about to deliver the final stone for her and a chance to get maybe 2. I don't think so. I think just a chance to get the 1. As we try to bring you what's happening over in that sheet, we are going to get Fowler and Fowler over here, and Greg Drummond is going to do the interview and talk to them about the game and the experience and get a little bit of insight for you. So stick around. It should be within a minute or 2, and we'll bring you an interview with Fowler and Fowler.
Fowler. I had the pleasure of watching you go 5-0 in your pool here in Canada. Ben, just talk to us about the game. Tell us what you think the difference was today.
So the ice was really, really, really quick today. It was actually amazing. It was really quick and swingy, so we were really trying to get our stones on top, nice and light stones, and I think that helped us get them in just the right place to then use them later.
Anna, how has your experience been here in Canada at the Qualico Mixed Doubles Classic?
It's always fantastic to be out in Canada. It's great to meet everyone, and everyone's always getting into the swing of things and the spirit. It's really, really good to be out here. Great event.
Okay, we were having a little chat when the game was going on, and we gather that you are an avocado enthusiast. Do talk to us about avocados for a second.
I really like avocados. What more is there to say? At least it's not something unhealthy.
So avocado is life.
Avocado is life.
Okay, one last question, Ben. Superior sibling, Ben or Anna?
Well, on the draw shot this week, I think I've just got it. So I'm definitely superior.
Good stuff, guys, and best of luck in the playoffs.
Thank you.
Okay, and this is John Shirley again. If you hold on for just a few minutes, we're going to get an interview with the young Banff curlers, Sora and Annika. Hi, we're back again, and we've got the young Banff curlers with us, Sora and Annika. First off, I'm just going to ask each of you to tell our viewers on the live stream a little bit about yourselves, how you got into curling, and how old are you? Most people don't believe that you're as young as you are.
I'm Annika. I started curling when I was 7 and I'm 13 now. I started curling in Banff out of a family junior program, and I've been doing it ever since.
And I'm Sora, and I'm originally from Japan, and I started curling when I was first grade, and I started playing competitively when I was about 5th grade or 6th grade, and I used to be in a national team once, but and I moved to Banff and joined a club team, and that's how I get into the curling in Canada.
That's great. And so, Annika, when you first come out, and your first game, I think, was against Reed and Reed Carruthers and Jill Officer, and you played Jennifer Jones and Brent Lang. How was that? Were you nervous, or how was that playing against some of the top curlers in the world?
I mean, it's definitely mentally hard, but I think you just have to go into it with a positive attitude and try your hardest. I mean, it's a great opportunity, and you just kind of have to enjoy that and try your hardest.
And so when you're out there playing with those top curlers, is there much interaction between you? Are they giving you advice, and how are they treating you as fellow competitors?
Oh, they were really kind to us. Like when we make that good shot, like they just talk to us like, oh yeah, that was a good shot or something like that. And yeah, I mean, we didn't get any advice or something, but we definitely learned lots of things by watching them play, and that was pretty good opportunity to have. Yeah.
Great. And so, Annika, what kind of things did you learn by watching some of these top curlers in the world?
I mean, it's great to see how much they can just push through, even if you're down by 4, how they can just mentally be strong and just push themselves through it because they know that they can do it. And it's just great motivation for younger curlers, and I mean, great person to look up to see how hard it is and how they just push through.
And next, maybe talk a little bit about, we could hear people clapping and cheering in here. You had quite a following of locals and people from Banff. How does that make you feel when you know this many people are here cheering you on?
Well, I really want to appreciate for them, coming down here, and, we're just club players, and we have not much of a chance to win, but, there's lots of people cheering for us, and yeah, that was really great motivates for us, and that was really, I really want to appreciate for them. Yeah.
So nextly, they're hoping to have this event here next year. Are you guys planning to enter again and maybe winning some games? I know your game this afternoon, you lost 9-7. It's quite close, and you're right in this against one of the top teams from England.
I mean, I'd love to try it again. I mean, it's a great opportunity, and win or lose, it's fun, and you just go at it and try hard. So I'm sure that I'll be back next year and try it again.
Oh yeah, definitely. I could see we're improving as we have a game and over. So yeah, if there's another mixed doubles classic, or again, if you have this tournament next year, I would definitely love to join.
Are there any more curling opportunities for the two of you to play mixed doubles in this season?
Not sure yet. But if we have a chance, I mean, I will definitely love to join. Yeah.
And Annika, where are you curling this year? Someone told me that you were curling in Cochrane. Are you curling on a competitive team or just at the club level in Cochrane?
Yeah, I play on a provincial team, Team Cinnamon. We play out of Cochrane as our home rink, and we play all over Calgary and all over southern Alberta. We travel around playing Bonspiels every weekend. We just came out of a win last week. We won the Bonspiel, and we got scholarships for school. So we've been doing pretty good, so I do that, and I play on my own team that I play skip for in the CYCA League every Sunday we play. Yeah, so very busy.
That's great. So the two of you, I'm going to ask both of you this question, and maybe you can answer each. Do you like doubles better? And if you like the other game better, what do you like about doubles, and how is it different from your normal game, say when you're skipping a 4-person team?
I mean, I definitely think doubles is harder, kind of figuring out who's sweeping, who's throwing, how things are going to go, and it's definitely more difficult. It's definitely more of a do-it-yourself kind of game, and it definitely brings on a new level of difficulty, which is, I think that I'd like better the team support, because everyone kind of knows where they belong and they work well together, and no one's really confused and moving around, and it's very energetic playing mixed doubles. You're on one end, the other end, sweeping, holding the broom. So it's a little bit easier to play with the 4 just so everyone knows what they're doing.
It's the same curling, but as a player, I would say it's definitely a completely different sports, I would say, because in mixed doubles, you definitely have more roles that you have to do. You have to read the ice, read the weights, and you have to adjust by yourself. There's no sweeper for you. So, yeah, but I mean, by meaning that, since I have much things to do, and I never get bored by playing mixed doubles, So I really like mixed doubles, but as a 4-player curling, I really like them too. So yeah, I like them both, but I would say mixed doubles is much more fun to me. Yeah.
That's great. Well, I hope you both had a great time this weekend. We'll let you go now. I know there's the social tonight, so hopefully you can enjoy the rest of the weekend and maybe watch some of the top curlers finish off in the playoffs. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are signing off now. The playoffs are starting at 7:30 tonight. We'll be live streaming from Sheet 4 here at the Canmore Golf and Curling Club. There are going to be 4 games between the 5th through 12th place teams, with the 4 winners going on to the quarterfinals tomorrow morning in Banff. We hope to see you then at 7:30.